Hello people of the internet, it's Needle here and welcome back to Drang Lake. Last time out we cleared No Man's Wharf and made our way up here to the Bastille, where we're going to push on and head towards our first great soul of the playthrough. Before we start, I'm going to jigger my Estus flasks, and also a small confession. I have a couple of characters going for this playthrough. I have this one, I have a tutorial based one so that I can show you guys little things like the other day when I recorded the lighting of the chandelier in No Man's Wharf and the effect that that has. And I also have a hex build so that when we get to later bosses in the game I can show you how ranged magic builds would deal with them. So I basically played the tutorial character the other day to make that No Man's Wharf video and ended up here in the Bastille, and I kind of played ahead a little bit, and I'm really glad that I did in actual fact, because the route I was planning to take through this area has been totally changed in the Scholar update. I'll show you that more when we get to it. It's not really severe if you've been following this playthrough exactly, because I think we actually have the required item. Yeah, we do. We have a fragrant branch of yore. Basically, the door you usually take through this area has a statue in front of it. So we're probably going to do both ways. We're going to go through that door, and we're also going to go the way this update is telling us to go. Whoop. Ouch. Dropping down here. This is the second time in 2 days I've totally missed that guy. I think he's maybe designed to be here to knock him down here, because in the original version there was just a Haid Knight there and you had no idea there was even a pathway down here. Before you head down there, always try and make sure if it's your first time through this area, drop down here and follow this path. It gets you a Soul of a Brave Warrior, which I can't remember if it's the large soul or the normal soul. Gives you 5,000 extra souls, so you're probably going to want to get that. I'm probably going to use a life gem instead of a Estus charge here. This area has been changed as well. If you're playing the vanilla game, there'll be one of those mummy enemies in the area, as well as dogs here. In the update, there's no mummy enemy, it's just a bunch of dogs, and yeah, those guys shooting their fire crossbows. So we're going to take them out and ignore the guys with the crossbows for now, because we just want to get rid of all the dogs first. Oh, did we get both of them? Okay, that's good. Right. So now we're going to take these guys down. Oh, there's another dog. I knew that was the wrong thing to do. Why did I do that? Okay, so activate another life gem, and you just want to slash away at this. I love the way, I have to say, it's maybe a little bit unrealistic, but I love the way those guys seem to just fall from such a great height and go and just roll into it perfectly. But another guy over here, and we just want to slash him down. Try and get behind them as they roll. I guess if you can predict the fact they're going to roll down, then you can get behind them. Common fruit. They can actually drop their armour and their sword, so that's why I was wondering if I'd maybe get a bit of that. The armour is, I think it's decent in terms of its defence. I don't think it's as good as the Drang Lake set that we're wearing, but it's also pretty heavy, so be careful of that. Alluring skulls can be used to draw enemies out. I think I might have already mentioned that before, but if I haven't, that's what that does. I'm not too sure which enemies it works on though, because there was a bit of a complaint when the game first came out that it didn't really work on anyone. I don't know if the updates changed that. Now, I don't know if that was the dog that came rushing out here, but if you're playing the original game, don't worry about this, just run around the corner. If you're playing the update like I am, there's actually a dog right here. Yeah, and he must have been the one that rushed out to come and get us, but there'll be one right here, so you want to take care of him. Now run around here and you'll get an Estus Flash Shard out of this chest, and you can see a bonfire through there. So you might be wondering, how do we get through there? Well, there's two ways. One that's super frustrating. Well, I don't know how it's changed now, but if you're playing the original game, it's super frustrating. And the way that we're going to get in, you can see over here, there's like boarded up window. We're going to go through there eventually, but not right now. So heading this way, we're going to come to a grate with some dogs behind it. So great, more dogs, if you haven't had enough of them already. I'm hoping to make this a bit of an interesting episode, because of course we actually have another bonfire activated here in the Bastille on the other side. So I'm going to try and show you how the areas sort of meet up in the middle, and then once we've cleared it from this side, we'll go to the other side and see what we can do from there. And also, if you can't be bothered going to the other side, I'll show you how to bridge the gap, so to speak. So here's the door. You need a key to get through that door, and if you're playing the original, you actually need to beat a pretty annoying side boss in a very annoying side area to get that key. As far as I'm aware, they did move it, so it might be easier to get in this version of the game. If we come across it, I'll let you know. Right, okay, so you see this guy, and he has a barrel here. If you approach him, he's going to kick the barrel into the wall. like so. Ruining our opportunity to use that barrel to hit this big crack in the wall. So there's two ways you can deal with it. Let me just slash it. The first time you come through this area, you won't be able to stop the guy kicking the barrel. However, if I go back to the bonfire back up there and come back down, you won't kick the barrel this time. So you can kind of make your way up slowly as he walks away, work your way in here, kill him, and then push the barrel down the stairs yourself, which will blow open the door. We were going to do the easier way. Well, it's easier for us because we killed the pursuer. Coming up here in the original game, there's going to be a dog in there. He's going to wait to jump you. And make sure you don't get caught out by that. You see this here, there's a message talking about a shortcut. There's that door down there. That can actually be opened. And if you're stuck on the boss, you can make your way from the bonfire all the way down here and roll off this ledge effectively through that open door once you've opened it, and it cuts out a lot of the run to the boss. Another one of these guys, we're going to try and do what we did earlier and make him do that. Kinda worked, probably worked more for him than it did for us. So you see these guys have a bit of pyromancy going. I didn't really think about it at the time, but I was wondering if there's any sort of connection between the fact that these guys use pyromancy and the pyromancer's glove is found on the pirate ship on the way over here. I'd never really thought about that before, but now I'm beginning to think there's a bit of a connection. So the normal way to make your way through this area, is across here, and to take these guys on. I'm just making sure there's only two. There is only two. Okay, I'm holding the block button. I don't know what that was. So that guy's dead, and this guy shouldn't be too difficult because you just draw them out like so. Okay, and that should have been a backstab, and it wasn't. But yeah, that's what you do. They make big swings. Unlike most enemies, they have sort of 3 swing combos, so you just want to bait them into the 3 swings and then get behind them if you can and backstab them. If not, they can take a bit of punishment, but they're not impossible to kill. Now, in the original game, this guy will not be here. You can go right through this door, but if you do go through the door, there's an ambush waiting for you on the other side of about 5 soldiers. You can draw them out and bring them over here, and some of them will fall down and die, so that's one option. The other option is just to bottleneck them in here, really. You can use things like fire bombs and spears to kind of just jab right through the doorway and get a lot of them. I'm not sure what to do here. Should we use a fragrant branch on this guy? The boss I wanted to show you guys in this episode is through that door, so I kind of think it's the wise thing to do, but I'm not too sure. Little thing before we move on, I didn't do this with my tutorial character the other day and I kicked myself for forgetting about it. There is a gap. Eventually, once you explore here a bit, you can drop down a sort of shortcut. Okay, so you can drop down here. We're going to visit that at some point. So you can come over here. Is there anything to actually get from this first of all? I think maybe there is. So you can come down here to this sort of slanted area. Nope, not here. Never mind, it must be a little bit further up. So maybe there. No. No. Okay, it must just be this part here. So you can run up here like that and climb that ladder. But first of all, we want to take a look inside this room because a familiar face is there. It's our buddy Lucatiel. So let's see what she has to say in this round of conversation, and then we'll move ahead.
I thought that might be you. You haven't changed a bit, have you? The longer I am here, the more madness I discover. A wretched place indeed, but not without traces of its former glory. What could have caused such degradation? Ah, yes. I have not thanked you for humoring me the other day. This is for you. Of course, I have no idea what it is. Our land of Mirror is surrounded by enemies and constantly at war. There is only one way up in Mirror. Join the Order and prove yourself in battle. My family had little fortune and no name. I had to carve out a piece of the world for myself. With 2 things, my sword and my loyalty to my lord. I was raised to wield a sword from birth. Life was hard, but I never gave it a second thought. I had swift success on the battlefield and quickly attained respectable stature. And then I came here to... Have you heard of the undead? These poor souls affected by the curse. An undead gradually loses his humanity until his wits degrade completely. Finally, he turns hollow and preys upon others. And a hollow can never be human again. One can skirt this wicked fate only with the help of the souls found here. Assuming, of course, that the legends are true. I can only hope that they are.
So, an absolute boatload of information there from Lucatiel. We get some backstory to the land of Mira, where she talks about it's always at constant war, surrounded by enemies, and the only way to move up in the world is to prove yourself in battle. We also see there's not really any kind of gender discrimination in that land. Maybe there is, and that's why she seems to be dressed in what a lot of people term as man's clothing. I don't know if that's true. But it seems that she was able to raise up to the highest rank just like any other person would in the country, and there was no sort of issue there. What else did she say? She mentions the themes. There was a couple of good themes there. She mentioned that this Bastille used to be glorious. It's had former glory and now it's fallen. You'll see that a lot throughout the game. We've still got a lot of places to go where that theme seems very prevalent. She also was a little bit self-aware there. She gave us a human effigy and she's like, I have no idea what that is. A lot of people kind of make the joke that, well, if only she knew what that is, she wouldn't even be here. She also continued the theme of not realising why she's here in the first place. She kind of lost her memory. She does seem to regain it a little bit more as you get in. There's a second reason for her being here, other than the fact she did mention the souls from this place cure the undead curse, and she's clearly afflicted with it. You can see there it's just beginning on her. If you skip the dialogue too fast, I tend to do that on future playthroughs after the first time I've spoke to her. If you click the button too fast, you won't take the mask off, so you won't actually get to see the fact that she is sort of half undead there. So, a little bit more about Lucatiel. We've learned more about her backstory, where she's from, what she's had to go through growing up, and a little bit of information as to why she's here because of that. Open this chest next to her, and we'll get an item that was previously locked away on the other side of the Bastille in the first playthrough, the antiquated key. Now, you remember that boarded up window back down there at the bottom? That's where we're going to return to. There's actually a door in there that could be opened with the antiquated key, and in the original game it was locked on that side of the Bastille behind this door. You see this door here, if you try and open it right now, it says does not open from this side. What you might recognise slightly is that that tower on the very far end there is actually the bonfire which we came to after we beat the Pursuer. So if you beat the Pursuer, you come this way, you can open that door, grab the antiquated key and head down to the boarded window. So if you're playing the original game, that's an option, and you can skip that boss behind that statue there. In this version, it seems it's okay, you can just grab the key and you're meant to run down there and ignore that statue and ignore the boss behind it, which is fair enough. However, if you haven't beat the Pursuer and you want to go over there, you can't activate the bonfire because you actually do need to come from that end. But you can open this door if you have something like this. I'm in the wrong tab. If we equip these and angle ourselves right. Nope. Yep. See, we absolutely blow a hole there, and if you come back to this door now, it opens just fine. Again, if you're coming from the other end, that's not even an issue, of course. These guys, I think, have a grab attack, although I don't think I've ever seen it. I was just thinking how I was going to dodge that attack there. They can drop their large sides, I believe it has a different name. Now we have one of a couple of difficult battles up ahead. I really hope we don't mess it up because I have so many souls on me and I really don't want to lose them. In actual fact, I'm thinking of just coming back. I probably should do that because we can just use the Pursuer bonfire to come back. But there you go, as you can see, there is the bonfire we activated when we beat the Pursuer. So if you're coming from the Pursuer end, you can come over here, you can check down that area down there, which we're going to do. It has one or two useful items in it, I think. Break this, come in, speak to Lucatiel. Oh, you see there's an item up there, it's kind of coming through the floor, we're going to check that out. And then just grab the antiquated key and head all the way back down there, or if you have the fragrant branch you can go that route instead. So take a minute to climb up here. Make sure I don't mess it up. I think it's just a Titanite shard. It might be different though, right enough in this game. Yeah, a large Titanite shard, still the same. You get a nice little view out here, gorgeous view, correct. And we're going to head back down. Always got to roll through the boxes, because otherwise what's the point? I was actually hoping to get the majority of the Bastille done today, but it seems already we're at 15 minutes, we're only going to have 10-15 minutes left in the episode. So I need to kind of choose my battles wisely here. Oh, okay, so we can either use a homeward bone and return to the bonfire, and that would conserve our souls guaranteed, or we can just run back to the bonfire. Now, that's fine in theory. However, because we picked up the antiquated key, whenever we return to this area, we are greeted by a new friend. Yeah. You remember that battle I was telling you I wanted to avoid? If you go to the other room on the other side of the Bastille, you're attacked by a brand new pursuer. And as you can see, there's also one right there, and I don't really want to fight him. To defeat those guys, it's very much the same way as their boss battles, only without the use of... We're just going to use a homeward bone. Is without the use of the ballista technique. You can just bait the sort of long range rush attack, dodge on the shield side, slash them in the back, repeat, and eventually they just go down so easy. So that's one method of taking them down. You have to beware with these two guys. I believe there's actually three. There's that one, there's the other one I didn't show you, and I think there's one later on. That they can actually use hexes straight off the bat. Usually if you fight the pursuer here, like in the forest, he only uses hexes if he catches you with the sort of cursed sword attack. So that's not true of these guys in the Bastille. They can just hit you with hexes straight off the bat, and they do curse you at the land, which reduces your overall HP. I'm going to upgrade our Estus flask again. I think we only have the one shard. Is that correct? Maybe it's not. Let's try again just to be sure. Yeah, we only had the one. So we'll try and level up right now to keep ourselves going. We should probably put... We'll find out how many levels we're going to get first. We're going to get 5. So using 3 of them to do that. I'm going to leave that right now because in order to show you how to defeat this boss that I want to take on in this episode, we can take them down very quickly with dual maces, and I need to know what the requirements are to dual wield maces. So let me just check. So yeah, so you need 1.5 the requirements, so it's 12 strength and 5 dex, so that translates to 18 strength, and I think it rounds up the way, so it'd be an extra 3 dex, so it'd be 8 dex, and we've got 13, so that's fine. So we need to put ourselves up to 18 strength before we do anything else. We could put ourselves further, but we want to keep something for the... Well, I mean, we've got some disposable souls, so it doesn't really matter. We will put our strength up to 18, and our endurance... Okay, to 13 I guess. And then we'll use that Soul of a Brave Warrior we got earlier, so we can finally determine how many souls it gives you. And from there, we will have a better idea of what we're doing. And it gives you 5,000, yeah, so I was right the first time. 5,000 souls. That should be enough for us to buy a mace. And upgrade it to +4. +3, I guess. Okay, so we need now 2 Titanite shards. Do we have them? Did we buy everything off of him? No, we didn't. Okay, so buy 2 of those. Not repair, reinforce. Okay, so I'm sure they'll be around when you make it back. So I think this is the first time I can actually show you guys dual wielding, isn't it? So normally whenever you have a sword and a shield equipped, or a sword and some other item that you can't dual wield equip, if you hold Y or triangle or whatever button it is to dual wield, you'll just switch to your left hand weapon. However, if you have the weapons and the stats to wield them, holding the Y long enough actually just puts you in this sort of dual wield stance. So now if I use the R1 or the RB, it's normal. If I use the L1 or LB to use left hand attack, you see now attack with both of them. But these maces come with a particularly strong attack like that. And on the boss that we're hoping to fight later, that is obscenely powerful, and you're going to see why in a minute. I'm probably not going to be able to take them down as quickly as some other people. There is a video out there taking them down in something like 30 seconds. You see there that I was holding the shield in 2 hands there, that's what I mean by holding Y for too long. And I'll try and link that video so that if you guys are still struggling, then that's something to use. So we're back in the holding cells, which unfortunately means we've got to do a bit of a long run. In actual fact, I've just went to the wrong bonfire because I probably better off showing you it from the other end. So we'll head over to the Pursuer bonfire and go from there. Got about 10 minutes left in this episode. I feel like that we'll try and take on one of the Pursuers actually, because there's the one right here. So we'll try and take him on. I'm trying to think, yeah. So once you enter that area, you can't come back out here, so it's better to just follow this path first. See, there's an item right over here. And you can just drop down there if you want and go for those chests, but as soon as you approach that chest, that is when the Pursuer will spawn in. You see over there, there's the Royal Swordsman in that room, and there's the statue right there. So you see the ambush that kind of awaits you as soon as you open that door. Coming in here, there should be at least one swordsman up here. There he is. So you want to knock them down, and then nudge this and run. Nah, never works. Did we get them all? I think we did. Yeah, so there's a swordsman and 2 dogs down here. Well, the swordsman's down here now because we knocked him down here. But so we run out. I don't know if the Pursuer spawns in before you get the chest. Yeah, he does. Okay, so it's probably better to take him on now before you open the chest. Also watch out for that gap, that is a bottomless pit. So don't fall down there, please. I'm just actually thinking that it probably would have been better to equip the mace for this guy. So dodge. And just keep slashing at him. He does get frustrating whenever he uses the hexes. Just making sure I'm keeping my dodging right. If you have the buckler, of course, you can still use it to parry him as you did normally. I've never tried dodging through that attack, that was the first time. It's good to see that it works. Once we get him below about halfway, he will, well, every time I fought him he's used the hexes. Doesn't look like he's going to this time. Goodbye. So rather than dropping a ring of blades, these guys drop Twinkling Titanite, which is used for upgrading well, not boss weapons, but unique weapons and armour, such as this shield and this armour that we're wearing right now. Opening this up, in the original game this is where the antiquated key was. It was in this chest. Now it's a covetous silver serpent ring, human effigy and a fragrant branch. So you get a fragrant branch if you want to use that one to unlock the statue guy, which I think we'll probably do because it's the quicker way to do what we want before the end of this episode. The covetous silver serpent ring increases the souls you get from defeating certain enemies. Well, all enemies, but it's not really worth using that one because if you spend enough souls with Melentia and then talk to her, you will get an upgraded version of that ring from her, so it's a better way to do it. All the merchants seem to have upgraded versions of items you'll find in the wild, so try and spend as many souls with them as you can. Lucatiel's gone, she's moved on. She's moved on to the next area, which we won't see her for a while now, I don't think. Okay, we got kind of lucky there catching that guy on the next swing. You see these guys do have range, that's a very long sword. So rolling backwards probably wasn't the best thing to do. There is the sword, we just got the sword. Let's check out its requirements, in case you like the look of it. It has 20 strength and 15 dex. C scaling and strength, it's not the best, but it can be used, I've seen people use it. So we're going to unlock this guy. I guess he's just like, yeah, a travelling hollow like they found in Things Betwixt. So are we fighting this guy or what? Yeah. And he goes down in one hit. I wonder if he respawns. Normally the guys you do unlock for this do respawn. So, you see already they're just rushing you. So just carve this guy up. Okay, yeah, you see Elaine, look at this. It kind of works in your favour if you have a big swinging weapon. Certainly whenever we get further into the playthrough and we start using things like the claymore that we want to use, that would be perfect for situations like this. Especially with all its thrust attacks and stuff. I like that little jump back to do its shit. Right, slash our way through these guys, and he drops us a life gem. Good, because we need to use one. So I don't think everyone rushes you for this ambush. I think ambush. I think there is still. Yeah, see, there's still guys in there. I wasn't fast enough to time it. Oh, and they just destroyed it. Oh wow. Okay. Well, now's the time to use an Estus because I guess we've got 5 and we haven't used even 1. But yeah, you can actually close that door on them. It wasn't an iron door in the original. I think they've changed it so that they can actually kick it down and come after you. So the normal way is to just pull on this. There's a couple of guys through there, and you make your way to the boss after that. The shortcut, which we were talking about earlier, is down here. There's the door right there, but there should be a guy guarding it. Oh, okay. You see there's a sort of mummy-like enemy in there. We're gonna encounter him in just a minute once we take care of this dude. So he's down. If you're coming to the Bastille, well, you have to come to the Bastille, you can't really avoid it. Make sure as soon as you spot one of those guys, you kill them, because they are incredibly dangerous. They come in a lot of different variations, but each one of them sort of explodes or dives at you and explodes. And best case scenario, they do a lot of damage, and worst case scenario is they'll knock you off any ledge nearby. So always keep an eye out for them. We'll encounter a lot more of them once we go the intended route. So I don't know if these guys have aggroed. They haven't. Making sure we're not going to get blindsided by any more exploding guys. Just checking these cells. Nope, so the boss is right through that fog. We're going to go in there. First of all, we're going to summon some help. Now in the original game this was a spellcaster who absolutely destroyed these guys. In this game it is still the same person. Okay, Pilgrim Belkler. She is a very useful summon for this fight. I'm just going to use it to show you how this fight doesn't really need it. If you're going to use dual maces especially, and you've got decent dodging, you definitely won't need this. But she's very useful for her spells and whatnot. Now when we go in here, you want to dodge towards the left because that's where the first guy is going to be. So get ready. And there we go. And you see the damage already that I'm doing. Seems they've been given a sort of boost to their poise, so they don't really stagger as easy as they used to. They still stagger though, so that's good. So if you want to just stay away, right, do not drop down. Once you defeat the first one, it's going to aggro the other ones, and if you don't defeat him after a certain time, he aggroes the enemy. But Belclair has a habit of walking towards them and doing this. You want to stay away because he jumps up and swings like that. So now we've got a little bit of time. Ow. So you want to keep your stamina up, and these guys aren't really difficult to dodge. You see. In fact, the biggest problem you're going to have is them jumping off that cliff down there. So when you roll off here, you're going to take damage, so make sure you have either your Estus or your life gems equipped, and just pop one as soon as you drop down. Watch out for the big swings. If you are behind them, they will still hit you. That was a very bad move on my part, although I wasn't really predicting the... And again! Oh, come on. Belclair's taking too much aggro here. And there you go. You see, just the maces make such quick work of them. Mines weren't totally upgraded, and Belclair being here obviously added a little bit more HP to them. But other than that, I'll link the other video where the guy takes them down in about 30 seconds, show you how simple this boss can actually be. we're really close to our time, but I'm going to use what we have left to show you that there is a number of secret rooms in here. You see, you just the best way to do it is just to run around clicking on all of these, and this is the way out. So there you go, a bunch of secret rooms. None of them really hold anything great, I don't think. One of them holds a spell, and that's the one this one's a dead end. Don't even know why that exists. Probably just to take you off the scent. Okay, don't even trust it. I think you can open them up during the boss battle, I'm not too sure. Target shield, I think it's similar to the buckler. It has a much bigger sort of parry range in it. So if you didn't pick up the buckler, then that could be a new one for you. Making sure there's nothing else here. Now you come up here and you're like, oh, what's in here? And this is a spell. I'm not too sure what spell it is. Homeward? Hush. Hush quietens your footsteps so it doesn't aggro enemies as easily. But there's also another secret wall up here. Ta-da! And this is Homeward Bones here. Yeah. So you might think you can jump across that, and I think I've seen some people actually make it. Oh, okay, I made it too. So usually just exit down there, climb up these stairs, and you're right here. You come to this hallway, do not stop, just run right through it. You see, because we've got some exploding mummy guys in there like I warned you about. And we reached the servant quarters bonfire. So guys, that is the way to get through it if you have a fragrant branch. I showed you in this episode how to get one. I would recommend, if you can and you're running a strength build, to go that way. It's so easy to take down those sentinels and get to this bonfire. We have an optional area down there. I think I'll explore that in a different episode, maybe with a different character. We're headed up there towards the next path on the way to our Great Soul. But for now, we're out of time, guys. I want to thank you for joining me today. You've been great company. If you have any questions about this game, this series, or anything on my channel in particular, please put it in the comments section. I do read and respond to anything that comes my way. But until next time, guys, you've been great. So I'll see you later. Bye bye.